Welcome back, everyone, to episode 42 and what should be the last episode of my Final Fantasy VI extended look / complete playthrough. In the previous episode, we managed to complete the Dragon's Den, get all the items that we wanted and needed from that area, got the Diabolos magicite, and we went back into Kefka's tower and made it all the way to the room where we had to hit the 2 switches to open the center door for, I can't remember which party it is, Terra, I think? Yeah, it is Terra's group. So we'll go ahead and head in with her. Obviously, there's 2 weights above these switches that would have to be hit. The reason for that is in order to go forward with the other 2 groups, I think the switches have to be depressed by the weight that you can see at the very top of the screen there. But we'll go ahead and... Oh, come on. Move. You can see, I think they're supposed to be able to go up those steps there, but I'm not 100% on that. Doesn't matter, we'll keep moving. Yeah, we have to have all 3 people in here to open the center channel to get to the next room up. We do have 3 major bosses that we have to fight still that we have not gotten to just yet. They are the 3 god statues, basically. They all have to be beaten still. Oh, crap. Alright, finish this quick, before they get us to kill ourselves. Oh, Lord, don't hit us, you dummy. It's not going to do anything, though, because he has full defense. 1 hit point? Oh, look at this. It broke one. It broke his defense because I guess it still hits through whatever your stats are. Blitzes are very good at ignoring defense, basically. That's why Sabin is so useful against, say, the Cactuar enemies, because it ignores the incredibly high defense and has a guaranteed hit. Alright, I need... Which one was I on? I need both of them off the switches. Cyan, get off the switch. Thank you. And get back to Terra. Push this weight down. Yeah, see, that's what it does. So we gotta go over and hit the other switch as well. Excuse me. Uh-oh. Might not be able to do that. We have to use Celeste to do it. So a little zigzagging. We're gonna have a couple of characters who... Yep, see. A couple of people who are swapping places. I don't know what that's going to mean for which groups are fighting which enemies. I don't know if it really matters. One of the cool choices that they made at the very end of the game is that when you go into the very final fight of the game, I think you have the option to pick which party goes in first. And as you advance up the tiers of the final boss's form, if any party members are dead when you advance to the next tier, they get swapped out with another party member from one of the other 2 parties that you brought in. Oh, look at this. That's the Guardian that we had fought at one point in the past, and he's not invincible anymore. We can actually damage him. Although it may only be with either magic or with physical attacks. Good news is we have the option to do both. Physical is doing damage. Ouch. Not too bad. Just go ahead and re-attack. He's taking full magic damage. This should be a fairly easy fight. I think most of the bosses in the final dungeon only have about 50 or 60,000 hit points, which is a lot, but after 2 turns, if you have Soul of Thamas on, it's over. Barely enough time for him to do singular attacks against us. That's the best he's got. This is an easy fight. Cyan's doing 12,000 each turn. It's over. And that is why you do not need to power level in this game. You get to level 50 or so. As long as you got the right equipment and the right team builds, this game is not hard. Alright, we healed up. I got in a fight after one step. Thank you, game. Alright, get up in the air. So, oh, crap. Yeah, he's still up in the air. Stop it! This is not going to help you out. That will, though. Can't cast it. Can you dice someone, please? I guess not. Nope, they're dead. Bye. Alright, get poor Strago back to human form, please. We don't need two imps. I don't think anyone took any damage there. Alright, can we move the other two parties, or do we have to do something else? No, they're still stuck. Unless there was another path they could follow. Uh-oh. I'll just leave him. I think if he hasn't had an attack assigned, they don't randomly choose one. Yep. It's over. So the best strategy the game has at this point is just to gimmick us to death with status effects or instant kill moves. It really doesn't have a whole lot else it can do. Is there another way in now? There is not. I guess we gotta keep going with the character we had before, because we can't get down here right now. Alright, well, moving on with the center. Let's see what this leads me to. Leads me to... Alright, so this is one of the first statues that we have to fight. We have to fight all three of the Warring Triad, basically, as individual fights before we get to the final encounter of the game. And I don't know if there's any prep we really need to do. Again, we have Ultima on our side, and we're using the party that can do it the most frequently, so this is going to be a pushover. Even if they do some weird stuff to us. Get up in the air, please. Oh, already with the gimmick. It's alright. If stopping one character is all they're going to be able to do, then this is over. Unfortunately for the poor demon god or goddess, they chose the wrong party member to stop at the beginning of the fight. They should have done it to Realm. And now Cyan's dead. Let's see if we can get him back up before the end of the fight. Probably not. I think this is going to end it. But we'll try. Nope, not quite. Hopefully Cyan gets up in time. And now it's over. See ya. Easy. Ultima is cheap. But man, is it good. AP, and we got a lance, but unfortunately the characters that would make use of it don't need to. It's not going to help them any. Whoa! Not sure what that was all about. Well, that's the first time we've had to do that Curaga spell twice to heal somebody. So it looks like Cyan's finally reached the barrier for how effective a magic spell is to, or the cure spells are to healing someone. A switch, maybe? No. Alright, we're gonna save here. And jump in the hole. Whee! Is there a switch I hit? Right there. Well, that's probably to advance, not to go back. So where does this lead me? Uh-oh. Did I just go in a big loop? I think I just went in a big loop. I'll tell you what, we'll load state there. Oh, crap. Did I just... Aw, man. I think I may have just screwed up. Whatever. Alright, so my dumbass accidentally loaded the beginning of the file that I started the beginning of this episode for and lost a whole bunch of progress, but I made it all back, so no big deal. We'll go back through the hole. And we're not going to go down the escalator. We have to be here. Now, what I don't know is, where am I supposed to go with these characters? Maybe I can jump down? No? Is there a door here? No. Is it possible that getting all three people off the switches will open something? No. What did I miss? It's gonna be something stupid. Get up in the air. Thank you. Well, he's no use to us. Good job, idiot. He's trying to mug himself. Oh, damn it. That's not good. She just hit her own team. Well, the good news is Mog's up in the air. Mog, you need to finish this, please. Oh, shoot. Well, this may be a long wait, because he's frozen. Stop doing that. This is bad enough. Hit him with plasma so it melts. I don't even know if that works. Now watch, one of them's going to do brain blast on him and he's going to get confused. Well, let's see if this does it. Is that the him? No. Well, while I'm waiting for that to finish, let me see if I can figure out where I have to go to get those three out. He's free! Now he's going to bounce on himself. I think. I'm not sure how that works. No, he jumped on the enemies. Good. Now kill the other one. No, don't keep killing one. Don't do freezing dust again, dude. Just let me finish this. Oh, great. Now he's dancing. I don't know if that will wake him up or not. Sure won't. And now he's frozen again. God damn it. I might have to restart. We may be screwed here. Came into this so confident we weren't going to have any problems, and now I'm getting stuck by this nonsense. Stop it. I think we're gonna die. Yep, it's over. Okay, restarting. Thankfully, we didn't lose 10 minutes of progress this time. Still no idea how to get those two other parties out of where they were. All right, let me keep looking here. Okay, so what am I not seeing here? There's a door we're supposed to be able to go through. I don't remember a door here. I can't jump down. Try the other party. There's a door you can go through. Do Grand Delta. Why not? Jump. Okay, I am at a loss here. Where am I supposed to go? Can we... No? What did I do wrong? Okay. I don't know what the hell I gotta do. Alright, we're gonna take a second here while I try to figure this out. Alright, figured out what it is. I gotta go back and hit a switch for Terra and Celeste. They'll get paths back down to these stairs. Sorry, Realm, you're not done yet. Damn it. Switch back this way, I gotta hit. Alright, so where was it? All the way back down here? There it is, okay. Okay, so that was a little bit less well explained than it could have been, should have been. End of the game, I'm still running into stuff that is a little bit too confounding. And I have seen all the innocence I want to see for the rest of the game. Please go away forever. I don't want to see any of you again. Get in there. We're just going to run each of the other two to where they need to go to advance. Then we'll worry about getting Realm back up to the center channel. Ha! Next boss. Alright, so we're gonna do Stray Cat. See how that works. Oh yeah, look at that damage. Ooh. I'm gonna rock this dude. Hopefully his Bum Rush or Phantom Rush does full damage, and it did. He is getting rocked right now. Oh no, it's trembling. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's one of the lores that Strago would be able to learn, and unfortunately, this is the only enemy, except for either in the Dragon's Den or somewhere else, that uses it. So we just lost our one opportunity to get it to Strago. Whatever. It does not matter. He's not going to use it. Oh, see you later. And again, by comparison to some of the dragons we fought in the Dragon's Den, that was too easy. We got a nice sword to give to Cyan. He may or may not be able to make full use of it. No idea why they keep getting bumped or pushed around or whatever's going on there. Looks like we're all pretty good. I'll give him some health. That's fine. We're going to save state this way, because I don't want to keep doing this forever. And here's her switch. I'll move to Celeste. Get Celeste on her path. And she does not have the... She doesn't have Cyan in her party, so she can't get what... can't use the item we just got. Jump, mug, magic. Not quite the full 9999 damage, but he's still doing respectable amounts of damage with that move. Mimic. Talked about it the first time we came in here, but I like the little pink and, or not pink, but green and purple accents on the design for that gamma. Just real sharp. See? Moving on. And I think this is the path to the third statue. There it is. Alright, so I think we're good with the build as is. We're going to save state here. Not taking any chances. This is the one we get to do a pincer on. I think technically all three of the fights should have been a pincer attack, but I didn't design the game. I mean, it's a statue. It doesn't do anything until we approach. Ultima. I think if I used Holy on the goddess statue, literally I would be healing it. We'll mimic. Hopefully he'll mimic Celeste. Oh no, Thundara. You vicious beast, you. Truly, this is a god among mortals using the second level spell. We already beat it. They might have made these a little too easy, guys. And this particular one was a serious pushover. Now, the nice thing is you get Excalibur. Now, who can use Excalibur? I think anyone who can use a standard sword. So quite a few people, but we'll check real quick. We destroyed the Warring Triad, but the power of magic isn't fading like it should be. Could Kefka have extracted the very source of magic from them? I don't know who was supposed to be saying that. It's the narrator. The person that's been following them this whole time. So, yeah, you can see he can put it on. And it gives him some nice stat boosts, but it's no ultimate weapon. Let's sort it and check. Where is it? Excalibur. Can be used by Terra, Locke, Edgar, and Celeste. So Edgar is committed to using a pike weapon as an imp. Celeste has Save the Queen. Terra has Apocalypse, and Locke is using the seesaw combo of Valiant Knife and Ultimate Weapon. So unless Celeste or Terra can use it, as cool a weapon as that should be, it's actually worse. Yeah, it does not help. Which is insane. You would never think to say that about Excalibur. Alright, so, second switch press. Let's get back up there with Realm. And I think we're at the final boss. Once we get up there. That is a really cool robot design, and unfortunately, because you never get to see it move around, it isn't nearly as menacing as it could have been. The Guardian design, by contrast, I always thought was a little bit too wide and stubby to be truly menacing. It could have been cool, but I don't think they nailed it. Alright, we'll save. And we'll save. And we'll head on north. I think they give you the choice of who you're putting into the fight. I'm not 100% on that. If they do, I think we're going to do what we did with Kaiser Dragon, and we're going to have Terra's group do the fight. I think that is the most defensively stout, and frankly, probably the most offensively stout as well. Which means we'll also take the dual cast Soul of the Moss off of Realm and give it to Terra so that she can dual cast as well. Really going to matter in the case of that party because they only have the one magic user, or serious magic user. And Gal, we may commit to doing the unholy rage move of having him just continually cast Entice on enemies. It's cheap, but you know what? If it wins the game, it wins the game. Even on Kefka. I like to think of it not as a cheat, but as a reward for all the hard work I did getting all those rages. Oh, let's save here. I was thinking I was at the save point we had before. It's alright. Save state. Alright, let's see if they give us a choice of who goes in there. If it's the center channel, I might try hitting one of the other switches first. No, all three are going in. I think you choose the order that you go in, if I'm not mistaken. And if that's the case, we might swap some party members out. Yeah, look at this. And guess who's up there? At the very tippy top of the tower. Screamy boy. Hold on. I haven't done this in a while. Welcome, friends! Wah, 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 wah. I knew you'd come, so I've been practicing my greeting. How much do you have to destroy? Oh, wait, who's saying that? I don't know who's saying that. We'll have Terra say it, since she's kind of in the lead of the party. How much do you have to destroy before you've had your fill, Kefka? I've acquired the ultimate power. Observe! Such magnificent power! You're nothing more than fleas compared to me now! Embrace your destruction. It is the fate of all things! I guess we can't use those two. To be destroyed? Maybe it is, but people can always rebuild, and new lives will always be born. And time will destroy all those as well. Why do people insist on creating things that will inevitably be destroyed? Close enough. Why do people cling to life, knowing that they must someday die? Knowing that none of it will have anything that will have meant anything once they do. I can't speak. Hey, how'd you walk over there? Because it's not the end that matters. It's knowing you have something to live for right now, at this moment. Something you've worked for. Something that's worth protecting. Ow. As long as you have that, that's enough. And did you find your somethings in this broken world that you just won't die? Yes. Whee! And now they all get to say what their piece is. Love. A person worth protecting. A wife and child who live on within me. Friends and family. Very sneaky. He's not saying who the family is. A peaceful kingdom. A loving brother who always looks out for me. Someone willing to accept me for who I am. An adorable little grandchild. An obnoxious grandpa who I couldn't live without. More pals, Crumble! These people, all of them! Wow! Blech! You people make me sick! You sound like lines from a self-help book! If that's how it's going to be, I'll snuff them all out! Every last one of your sickening, happy little reasons for living! No, Kefka, I don't know who's saying that. So he goes right back to trying to destroy everything again. He's kind of a jerk like that. I wield the greatest power in existence! You may as well be the dirt on the bottom of my boots, or the dirt stuck to the bottom of that dirt! He's right. We still have to beat him. I'll destroy everything! I'll create my own empire of death! I'm the talking one. You can't destroy everything. People will always have dreams. No! I'll destroy the entire world! There won't be anything left to dream about!
We won't let you hurt any more people. But what fun is destruction if no precious lives are lost?
I think at some point we get to choose the party. I can't remember. Which unfortunately I forgot to put Sol Thamas on Terra, so we may be screwed that in that case. I guess we'll find out in a second. It ends here, Kefka. Aha! There we go, see? So we can swap in and out whoever we want in the final fight. Again, I think Terra's going to be the one that leads the party in that regard. Oh, reset. I didn't realize how they were doing it. So it's going to be Terra. We're going to do Sabin. We're going to swap Edgar for Shadow. I think Shadow is a lot more evasive and has a little bit better defense. I'm not 100% on that. And then we will go with, who is my utility? I already forgot the parties. Oh, Gal. Gal is going to go in the 4th slot because he's going to be using Entice as much as he can. Now, we did swap Edgar and Shadow. I think we'll put Edgar in the party that he came out of, and we're going to leave the parties assembled as they were. So then it's going to be Celeste, Locke, Mog, and Gogo. And then if it gets this far, Realm, who's the second? Cyan, Edgar, and Strago. That's going to be our group going in. And we're going to save if I can. Save. We're going to do it on save 5. So if something goes horribly wrong, I can redo the whole thing. All right, here we go. Final fight. Jump. And your move is going to be Rafflesia. You try to turn the enemy on himself. And I didn't catch whether or not Shadow is still an imp. I think he is. Alright, well, we just turned a hand on itself. Final music of the game, of course, is wonderfully dramatic and epic. If you came in here with Locke as part of the party, he actually can steal some pretty unique equipment in this final fight. There is one enemy, and I don't remember which one it is, that actually carries Ragnarok. So if you chose the shield, or excuse me, if you chose the magicite versus using the sword, you can get the sword here as well. Of course, what difference does that make if you're at the end of the game and you literally will have no use for the sword after you finish this fight? Well, you can actually go and do the post-game dungeons as well after this. Should you? I don't know. That's up to you. And the value of having Quake, or having Float Cast on everyone, shows right there. And I think we're moving up. Yep. All right, first tier done. We move to the second tier. And the music changes with every tier, sometimes more smoothly than others. That was not the most graceful change. That might have been something they could not get to work on the Game Boy Advance version. Alright, so let's go ahead and redo that. Rafflesia. I want you to keep doing that to everybody. This to Ultima. Again, the lone exception to the defensively stout part of this party is the fact that, unfortunately, poor Sabin just does not hang with the rest of the group. gonna take the turn to heal probably myself, not anyone else, but he could use it. Oh, Shadow took a hit. I don't know how much of the full version of this song you get to hear while we're playing through it here. It may skip some measures and some beats. We'll do the best we can to get the full song to play, but I'm going to try to kill the boss. I'm not worried about whether or not we hear the song. It is incredible. It's not hitting anything. I think we might be done. Nope, still going. 10-hit combo barely did anything. Someone tried a gravity bomb. That didn't do anything. And Gal, because he's got really good stamina, is already getting a lot of health back, and he's still enticing people, so they can't fight back much. It's a little cheesy. I probably shouldn't be doing this, but you know what? Again, I consider it a reward for managing to find and fight a Rafflesia and then learning it on the Veld. We're done? Nope, not done. One more. Good job, idiot. I don't think that's going to work because he's wearing miracle shoes, but it did put him on the ground, so... Why did they do that twice back-to-back on the same character? Yeah, boy, they did a crap job of that. The music is supposed to change a little more gracefully than that. Still sounds so good. We'll just do a blitz. If he takes the hit from earth damage, he takes the hit. So be it. We want to kill these guys. We're not worried about whether or not we do any... take any damage from Quake. In fact, I think Edgar might be protected against it. I'm not 100% on that. Ooh, someone cast Meteor and only hit one person, Shadow. And it didn't even hit him. We might need to put a stack of regen on him because he's starting to take some bleed damage, some sap, and I want to keep him alive as much as possible. Was it over? All right, we're up to the final part. We're going to Kefka. Now the reprisal of the song that opens the game. Huh, Shadow's not on the ground. Hopefully he avoids the one heartless angel that gets fired at us at the very beginning. I think he speaks again here. No, maybe not. Nope, he didn't avoid it. Damn it. He's gonna get hit just like everyone else. Oh.
Life, dreams, hope.
Okay.
Where do they come from? And where do they go? Such meaningless things. I'll destroy them all.
Thank you for laughing for me, so I didn't have to do it. And let's go ahead and Rafflesia you idiot. Oh, come on, I need to get Shadow up in the air. If he's healthy, or if he avoids that first hit, he should be fine. Got him up, good. Hyperdrive could kill someone. Okay, Gal. Good. You tanked it.
The end draws near.
Big hits. Oh, go for 4. I just did 3. It's over. We just won the game. He didn't even get to do his big, bad hit. I beat his ass. And the cool thing is he slowly disintegrates from the bottom all the way up. Very, very cool. We did it. We beat the game, guys. Now, there is a whole bunch of epilogue here that we're going to go through all the way, and then I'll go ahead and wrap up and do my final thoughts on the game. We'll do a ranking. We'll do a different kind of review that I was, or appraisal of the game that I was going to do just for Nubs RPG Wednesday. We'll go over all that, but we have a little bit of extra story to go through still. Boy, they made it so brutal watching him fall apart. Good job, gang. You did it. But we still have to get out of the tower. The tower's collapsing. And I'm here. There's no time to lose. Come on, the airship's just ahead. And Terra goes full esper form. Come on, everybody. We can make it if we work together. Flump. Terra, what's wrong? Guess what? We killed the Warring Triad and the remaining source of magic that was Kefka, and now magic's going away. The magicite. Magic is disappearing. If the espers are fading from the world now, what'll happen to Terra? Come with me. I can use the last of my power to guide you out. And this is me cutting in post-production with a quick note. At the end of the game here, they do show the full names of every single character that joined your party. One of the interesting things about video games where they give you a full name, if they don't make a name that's very on the nose, is there's usually a hidden meaning behind what they chose for a character name. So I'm going to do the best I can to translate or explain what the name for each of these characters means on the screen with a little caption next to their name as it appears. Most of the names that they used for characters in this game have either a French or Italian, or possibly even a Latin origin. If I can find one that makes sense for a descriptor for the character, I'll put it on the screen. Sometimes they get a little more esoteric, and I'll see if I can't find something that matches each name, but that's why you'll see something popping up on the screen next to the names here. And now we get the final cutscene of the game. Very long, but they go over every member of the party that you managed to keep alive and was with you for the journey all the way to the end of the game, including the special characters that you are not necessarily meant to bring into the tower, like Gogo and Umaro. They also get their little side story bit. And there will be a little dialogue for me to read here, so I'm not just going to sit for 20 minutes in silence. Cyan. Interesting. They don't show the... Oh, there it is. I was going to say, they do show the full name for each character. Cyan Garamond. And little wrap-ups for each character. Cyan, could you hit that switch? Mechanical devices are not my strong point. I'm going to have to speak fast, because they do this all scripted. So there isn't no interaction with me. I don't press the buttons, they just happen. I do believe I am getting better, though. Yay, Setzer gets his moment. What an awful character. Full name, Setzer Gabbiani. Now, because the whole theme of the game was meant to be kind of operatic, the character names are Italian for the most part. Wait. The coin was telling him that that way was a bad choice. Whenever you think you're right, you're wrong. That doesn't make sense, and that's a big mistake. That was what you always used to say, wasn't it, Daryl? Alright, get out of here. You're an idiot. No one cares. Edgar and... oh, they're just going to do his. Edgar Roni Figaro and Sabin, the other side of the coin. Sabin Rene Figaro. So they are the Figaro twins, or the Figaros. Look at that brute strength. It's not like I wanted to dump all that responsibility on you. I knew you'd look out for the kingdom. I wanted to be able to look out for you. That's why I went off to become stronger. Look at that. He's the bro. He's the best. Mog. I'd be amazed if they gave him a full name. Yeah, it's just Mog. That wouldn't make any damn sense if they did. Whoa! Help me, Kubo! You get it, guys? It's like one of those gotcha machines. The hair! Where's the hair? I'm not a stuffed animal, Kubo! And his buddy, his working companion, Umaro. Because we needed a wrap on this character. Barely used. It won't open.
Ooga!
Can't remember how I did him. It's alright, he's gonna break a path forward for them.
Ooga!
And then the other secret character. Go-Go. I can't remember how I did the voice, so I think it was just kind of like a... I don't know. Both buttons have to be pressed at the same time in exactly the same way. Go-Go mimics Celeste. I don't even think he gets a talking line here. Yep. And then, whoops. And he died horribly. Gal. The best character in the game. No other name, just Gal. And the last screechy voice I'll have to do, hopefully, for the rest of the game.
Shortcut! Take shortcut! Shortcut! Take shortcut!
Okay. Well, there you go. Locke, otherwise known as Locke Cole, and Celeste, otherwise known as Celeste Shari, or Cher. So there might be some French names in there as well, and I think Cole is actually English. But for the most part, they were going for Italian characters. No! Come on, this place is breaking apart. And... Lock!
I won't let go, I promise. Are you crazy? You almost got yourself killed for that?
Just grabs her and, like, yanks her away. And I think we're down to the last character? Terra. The one we started the game with. Otherwise known as Terra Branford. And then the last of the espers goes away. Father. Terra, we must part now. We espers will disappear from this world. You may fade away as well. But perhaps if the human part of you feels something strong enough, then maybe, just maybe, you will be able to remain here as a human. And yes, Maduin was her father, so you carried her father's remains around with you the entire game. Oh yeah, I forgot Realm and Strago. It's to the strength of the game that there are lay motifs you can recognize easily. Realm Aroni. And I think there might be something that happens here coming up with her and one other character. Grandpa, you can't give up yet. Sorry, dear. Any more whining out of you and I'll paint your picture. Oh no, anything but that. But you know, someday I really would like to paint your portrait. On canvas, I mean. Oh, Realm, look what you've done. You've made me go all misty-eyed, and I can't see where we're going. And Shadow. Otherwise known as Shadow, because they won't tell you his real name. It's, if it's not Baram, it's actually Clyde. But hopefully they show the scene, maybe? Maybe not. He's telling the dog, time to go.
Go on, Interceptor. Get going.
You dummy!
Take care of yourself, boy.
I guess he doesn't get his moment. There it is.
Brom, looks like I can finally stop running. Come and find me someday.
Which he does by running. Oh, Strago still got his moment. Otherwise known as Strago Magus, or Magus? Magus. Come on, Strago, you can't let yourself shown up by a bunch of kids. Whatever. Went too fast. It's got some ups. Gotcha! That should be it. Yeah, that was everything. That doesn't mean it's the end. There's still some more stuff that has to happen. And me! I'm part of the story. Follow me. This is a terrible idea. You might disintegrate. Don't fly. The last piece of magicite. Terra, you've done enough. Your power's getting weaker. And why are you flying in the first place? Just get on the damn ship, idiot. They know how to fly. Terra isn't going to be able to hold out much longer. So whips a hard J and gets underneath her. Although, technically, they probably would be fine. I mean, they've fallen much longer distances. Don't give up, Katerin. Oh, wait. It's Terra saying that. I won't either. Because they were like, where'd that voice come from? So why did they all get knocked down? That doesn't make sense. And they all died. Not yet. Not yet. I don't know who said that. Terra! Terra! Thank you, Setzer. Why'd she thank him? Celeste grabbed him. I told you, didn't I? She's the fastest ship in the world. All right, and that is it. Now, the final scene is just literally shots of the airship flying around in the sky and some weird cloud textures that really look cool back in the day, and maybe now not so much. All right, so while the credits are playing, we're going to go ahead and do a wrap-up because this was a game that I owned as a kid. We're going to go ahead and treat it like an episode of Nub's Collection. Excuse me, I'm a little bit raspy now. We're going to do the review phase and we'll give it a score, and then I'm going to offer one final thought that's going to be like kind of a part of Nub's RPG Wednesday on whether or not it's worth going back and playing some of these older RPGs, because as time has gone by, RPGs have advanced and progressed in a way that maybe sometimes the older ones aren't necessarily as valuable to go back to, because the experience was still pretty bare bones earlier in the lifetime of RPG type games. We're not going to have a whole lot negative to say about this one, that's certain. Anyway, let's go ahead and do the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is that this game has a fantastic plot with an incredible twist. The villain technically wins this game, or wins the fight that was happening in the first half of the game. The world as you knew it gets destroyed, and everything goes to hell, basically. RPG tropes that were pretty set in stone at that time of this, that the game came out, were basically wrapped around one idea. Heroes found the villain enacts a plan and stays just one step ahead of all the heroes until the very end, when the heroes manage to stop the villain and save the world just in time. That's not what happened here. In the first half of the game, you go chasing after the Empire to try to stop them from enacting their plan, and they actually do succeed in doing it. They get to the Warring Triad, they interact with them, disrupt their delicate balance. Kefka absorbs all the magic power that they had shooting between them, which, by the way, according to the story, is how you turn yourself into an esper, so technically he became an esper, and he destroyed the world. So there was a beautiful twist to the story in the sense that the heroes did not manage to stop the villain from doing what he was trying to do. He won. And the second half of the game is literally you trying to set everything back to the way it was, for better or worse. The game showing here that the land is starting to become verdant or green, and the sky is nice and blue again, so in theory you fixed everything, but I don't know if it necessarily should have gone that way. It's just the way that it was presented. The dungeons in this game were fun, and almost all of them could be completed in an hour. Now, from a purely recording standpoint, this made my job much easier. From a portable gaming perspective, it made the GBA release a slam dunk, because you could play the game in bite-sized little chunks or experiences, save the game, come back to it later. In terms of the game back when it came out as a Super Nintendo release, that was a brilliant idea, because, you know, most games were being designed, released, and marketed towards kids. So having a game that you could go through a dungeon in an hour and then your parents would tell you got to get off the system, beautiful idea. Just chef's kiss. So well designed there. Graphically, this game is still a knockout in terms of 2D pixel art. One of the things I loved about making this particular series was the challenge of creating unique thumbnails for each and every video. And it was made remarkably easy because there are literally dozens of different environments in this game. I think I had maybe one reused environmental asset in the first 20-ish episodes that I had already recorded, edited, and got up on the channel. As of the time of recording this episode 42, I think I already have about 20 of the episodes fully recorded, edited, and uploaded to the channel. You haven't seen all 20 of those episodes just yet. I'm recording this on, what day is it? The 25th of November. I think only about half of those have actually gone live on the channel, so there's still plenty more to go up from here. That's how much artwork went into this game, is the fact that 20 unique environments have already been used for thumbnails for this game, or for my series for this game. And I don't think we've seen all of them yet. I know there's more that we have not actually put into a thumbnail for this game. The character models were very large and detailed enough to emote, which helps sell the story way better. Oh, there's a little more story going on here. I don't know if anyone talks. Guess we'll find out in a second here. Oh, Katerin's giving birth. Not sure why the oldest member of the entire group was not in the room. That's probably a bad choice. He grabbed the kid by the feet. Yeah, they're all just going to pantomime. I don't think there's any more dialogue at this point. I'll let it finish here. Ha ha ha, we're right above you! I think they're happy because they see that the one kid, or the couple, gave birth successfully. Wow. It's that easy to rebuild. The people in Miranda and Tazan and Albrook were all lazy. No, stop. This is gross. And I'm going into this in the good, the bad, and the ugly. It was not okay for him to hit on a 10-year-old. Yeah, beat the shit out of your brother. That's stupid. Wave hi to your kingdom. Hey, guys. And then after hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of days, Terra finally realizes she needs to wash her hair. And takes out the little beret and makes sure everyone behind her gets the stink of her hair in their face. That was a choice there. They made a very whitey white background with a bunch of like seagulls or doves or whatever flying in front of them, and you can barely make any details out. sure in the original release there might have been a little bit more color gradation there, but in the GBA version they brightened everything up. I'm glad we followed the birds. That was the important part. Ha-ha! By the way, I think the music might have been a little bit sped up there because it's supposed to play all the way to that last shot of the airship. And it didn't play. That's fine. I mean, it's the Game Boy Advance version of the game, so I'm not surprised. I would be surprised if we don't hear the main Final Fantasy theme, the do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do here, because I think that was supposed to play, but whatever. Let's go ahead and finish up our thoughts on the good, the bad, and the ugly here. Where was I? Sorry, I have a lot of this all written down because I wanted to make sure I brought up as many points as I could about this. The enemy designs in this game were awesome. My only complaint about them was the fact that they were all static images. But that is one of the changes that occurred as early as not only the next Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy VII, where enemies actually moved and there were polygons, but even Chrono Trigger, rather, which is a game that released maybe 2 years after this or 1 year after this, the enemies were all animated. So it's one of the things that maybe they could have gotten a little bit better, but this was kind of following in the tradition of Final Fantasy games up to this point, where all the characters that you were fighting as enemies were static images, but they were very detailed, including the final bosses that we fought here. Very well designed, especially Kefka. The cast of characters is well varied, and most have fun, unique abilities to utilize in battle. That word sounds so weird to me in my head right now. It's 5 in the morning. In the early hours of the game, the constant juggling of party members keeps everything fresh and unpredictable, which is very nice. Using magicite to learn magic is remarkably simple, and getting stat bonuses on level up is just icing on the cake. I liked how they handled that. It does maybe cheese the game a little bit, the fact that every single party member can learn all the magic, but that's not anything new. If you've ever played Final Fantasy V, you can literally make all 4 of the party members in that game learn everything. So this game is just an extension of that, giving you the opportunity to make the team you want to make. You can go as far back as the first Final Fantasy. If you were psychotic enough, you could make your entire team out of white mages or black mages or any type of character you wanted. So this is just an outgrowth of that particular style of customization. The soundtrack in this game is world-class. One of the greatest of all time. This was one of the ones that was done by Nobu Uematsu. I think I said that right, Uematsu. And it really set himself apart from other game composers with this particular collection of songs. In particular, I would highlight the entire opera composition that happens, early in the game. The music of the final boss fight was so well done. Unfortunately, because the Game Boy Advance, for whatever reason, could not transition between the different sections smoothly. They just kind of abruptly went to the next one. That is not how it worked on the Super Nintendo. They actually had a nice transition between the parts, but they did the best they could, I guess. And my favorite track of the entire game is still the Velt theme. I love that song. It's one of my favorites of all time. The Game Boy Advance version that we played had some strong points. It also had some issues that we'll go into. The script was revised so that it more closely matched the original Japanese text. And text fields were adjusted so that there was more detail in the names and the dialogue was more fully fleshed out. And while the game did have some graphical issues, more on that in the bad, the color palette overall was brightened up and made more vivid than the original Super Nintendo release. This was especially important in the second half of the game, when the World of Ruin palette becomes a lot of muted browns and grays. So much so that you would think you were playing an Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3 game. A lot of browns and grays during that particular generation. In addition to the Dragon's Den and the Soul Shrine, which we did not actually look at, and the 4 new espers, the addition of those things, and the 4 new espers that you could fight to turn them into magicite. They were fun and worth the time to look at overall, and in particular, the dragon fights sported unique mechanics to make them far more engaging than most fights in the game. Getting special final weapons for each character was also a nice incentive to actually do the Dragon's Den. As far as the bad, now, I love this game. I think it's one of the best games of all time. I still think there's some stuff that we need to talk about in the bad. The plot in the second half falls flat because of the twist, unfortunately. Because you are not guaranteed to actually find any party member other than Celeste, Sabin, Edgar, and Setzer. They had to thin the story out to the barest of story beats after you begin the World of Ruin. Just going over what happened. The Returners are gone. The Empire is gone. You don't even see or hear Kefka until the very end of the game. And there's another 20 or so hours of gameplay before you even get there. I love the idea of Kefka winning, but unfortunately, the party getting broken up and having to reassemble them, all that came at the cost of having a coherent, solid story in the second half of the game. All of what happens after you get there is literally just little tiny story chunks that don't progress the plot in any meaningful way. We could just go over a couple of those beats. Realm. She's painting a painting in some rich guy's house, and you save her, and she goes, "Oh, thanks." Strago. Oh, he's hanging out at a tower. You go save him, and then he's back in the party. Terra. She's protecting a group of kids and the survivors of the town of Moblis. Technically, you don't have to go back and save her. You do encounter her as part of the story of Celeste and Sabin walking around on the Serpent Trench. But you don't actually have to go back and help her and save the kids from Humbaba. If you want, you can skip all that. That does actually add to the story at the end of the game, but you're not actually required to have her in the party. Who else? Shadow. You could literally have left him on the floating continent, and if you do come back and get him, he's just in the Colosseum, and he goes, "Okay, I'll join you." Wow, great story, guys. Locke is trying to get the Phoenix Magicite to help revive Rachel, and then he does, and she's like, "Oh no, go live your life." The end. There was a lot of stuff that was meant to be character progression, and you could have skipped all of it, and it wouldn't have done anything to the larger overall plot to advance it in any way. So, yeah, the story beats, unfortunately, became a lot less cohesive and solid once you get to the second half of the game. Gao and Strago's abilities felt a little bit too similar in how they were learned to justify the existence of both characters. Same with Gao and Mog, actually. Gao and Mog, you have to go out in the world and experience something in order to learn the spell. And in their case, both of them use them in the same way, which is once you begin the rage or the dance, you can't stop it unless they die. So I guess what I'm trying to say is Gao should have been in the game and maybe not Mog and Strago. Heresy, I know. Some people love Mog. I don't know if there's anyone who really loves Strago, but this is where maybe there was a little bit too much bloat in terms of how many characters they introduced in the game. And speaking of bloat, Setzer is completely useless. He's the means to getting your airships, and that's it. His ability sucks, because the slots, you can't control what it is unless you cheese the game. You can actually pause it to select which slot it's going to land on. But he's just not the best in any particular field, physical or magical. His weapons utilize instant death effects that are all but nullified when you get to the World of Ruin. The game did not need him. He should have been a character kind of like Professor Sid, who helps advance the plot and helps you get to your airship, and then he's gone. He did not need to be in this game. Sorry, Setzer sucks. The limitations of the Game Boy Advance hardware were clear throughout my playthrough. There was noticeable chug during overworld movement, especially via the airship. There was slowdown for certain spells and effects on screen. And while the soundtrack still sounds great, several audio channels were not available to fully reproduce the sounds of the Super Nintendo release. I pointed this out. The floating continent, when you get up there, there is a... or not necessarily the floating continent itself, but when you're trying to escape the floating continent, there's a song that plays during that had this ascending and descending note progression that normally happens, and you couldn't hear it in the Game Boy Advance version because that channel was not available, and it kind of diminished the value of that song or the impact of that song. Unfortunately, there was nothing that they could do about it. The Game Boy Advance only had so many audio channels, and they did the best they could with it. Also, as I pointed out here, the song at the very end of the game, it might have been a little bit rushed because it was not following the beats of the epilogue scenes that were playing, and it was supposed to stay playing all the way through the final shot of the airship when it's kind of flying away and then the end shows up on the screen. It was playing too fast, or the video was playing too slow. Either one. That was not something that ever happened during the Super Nintendo version of the game. So that is an issue with the Game Boy Advance. The Dragon's Den, that was the GBA added dungeon, was way too convoluted in its design to be fun. If I was a little bit quiet during those episodes when I was trying to go through the dungeon, it's because I was not having fun. I enjoyed the boss fights, and the items that you receive make it that much more tantalizing to complete it, but there was just way too much backtracking to justify the way that they designed it. Kefka's Tower, the biggest offense there was the fact that I had to go back and press another switch a second time to open 2 extra doors. Big whoop. I could have figured that out eventually on my own. I did stop the video for a second to check out what I had missed, but that wasn't really that big a deal. The Dragon's Den was just too much. Too much. They needed to simplify that some. One question, and I'll never understand why they did it this way. Why do you always lose the item you bet in the Colosseum? If you win, you trade, quotey fingers, your item for the one that you were trying to get. If you lose, you get nothing. This was a terrible idea, and they should not have designed it this way. I could have come up with a much better system. In fact, I did. Basically, if they wanted to limit cheesing the system, where you would just keep trading or betting for an item and then winning and getting those items nonstop, just make a list of the possible bets on a menu, and once you complete it, it gets struck off and you cannot repeat it. That easy. And you don't lose the item you bet, unless you lose the fight. The design of the Colosseum, as fun an idea as it was horribly blown because you lose every single item that you bet in the Colosseum. Once you compete in that arena, the item you're putting up for bid is gone. That was a stupid, stupid choice. As far as the ugly, it would have been nice if Mog's dance ability had a timed button press element to it, which would have made it more engaging to activate instead of just pick it, and if you're in the right region, it'll always work, and if you're not in the right region, sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't. And then once it actually does work, you're hands off the rest of the fight. I didn't love that. I think if you wanted to differentiate it from, say, Gal's abilities, you should have made it more of an active event. I'm not saying make it happen forever. I'm saying at the very beginning of you starting the dance, a little 5-second button press, time button press to a jingle. They could have created a small jingle for every area that you could do. You're talking 8 in total. That would not have been that much additional work. I wish there was a way to see the inputs for Saban's blitz moves while you're in battle. I usually resort to the same 2 or 3 because I memorize those, but say Meteor Strike and Chakra, I always forget them because they kind of are similar in how you do them. It would have been as simple as just having a card pop up on the bottom of the menu screen when you first select the Blitz command with all the different moves you have to do. It would have been that easy. I've harped on this enough during the episode, but I gotta bring it up again. The Dragoon boots. Where to begin? There was a character that made sense to give them to, and they didn't get it right. Mog and Edgar had cool abilities to begin with. Mog could do dances. Edgar could use special machines that no one else could use. Tools, whatever you want to call them. But those abilities become far less useful in the second half of the game. And because jump attacks do double damage when you use a spear or a pike, and Mog and Edgar both use spears and pikes, they become the Dragoons in your party by default. Why not just make their primary abilities more effective in the second half? Make new dances for Mog to learn. Have Edgar talk to his people in Figaro and have them invent new tools that are much more powerful. Version 2 weapons. Doesn't that make sense as a mechanic? Hey, we came up with a new version of this chainsaw. It does way more damage. Or even better, since Setzer sucked to begin with, and his utility is literally that he has an airship, meaning he's in the air a lot already, why not make him the Dragoon? This has always bothered me, and I know I need to get over it, but this part of the game was just horribly handled. It doesn't ruin the game by any means, but the whole thing about it was so sloppy that it boggles the mind how they decided to make Edgar and Mog the only native spear wielders in the entire game when they had better uses. Horribly dumb. And I know I used Shadow in that particular role because in my mind, it just makes sense to have a character that's going to be leaping off the screen a lot and avoiding combat be part of the Dragoon group because he already had the highest evasion of everyone, and it wasn't even close. So high evasion combined with him jumping in the air, he just never took damage. That was a better idea than making Edgar and Mog Dragoons. I hate it. I know I should shut up about it, but whatever. Edgar considering flirting with a 10-year-old realm was gross, and I cannot believe that they made that part of or made it past censorship for the Game Boy Advance version. Consider this. In the Game Boy Advance version of the game, they censored Celeste being assaulted while she was imprisoned and basically shackled to a wall. And they said that the dialogue of Terra trying to resist being enslaved by Kefka when the crown goes over her head was a little bit too rapey to leave in the game. But they did not think that a, whatever he is, 30, 40-year-old man wondering if he should or shouldn't flirt with a 10-year-old girl was okay to put in this game. What were they thinking? And then they reprised it in the final scene where he's standing at the railing of the airship and kind of trying to put the moves on Celeste. And then Celeste walks away and, oh, the kid's there again, so he'll just keep hitting on her. What were they thinking? That was so gross. Terrible. Awful, awful choice. Makes my skin crawl thinking about it. Finally, I would say that Ultima kind of invalidates all other offensive spells once you actually get it. And this kind of leans into the idea that everyone can learn all the magic in this game. Since everyone can learn it, there's literally no reason to teach every spell to every character unless you're a completionist. Once you get Ultima, use Ultima. Fight over. I mean, that's how I went through Kefka's tower. And I did it fast. I got in there. If I got in a fight, I had one character who had a Celestiate equipped, and then I just had him cast Ultima until the fight was over. So, unfortunately, Ultima kind of imbalances the fighting in this game. It makes it very heavily dependent on you using magic every single turn you get, which kind of stinks. I liked the utility of all the other characters in this game more than I did magic when I used to play it as a kid. When I would go into the final area of the game, my party was always Sabin, because I liked the blitzes. Shadow, because again, I would put the Dragoon boots and the Dragon Horn on him and just have him leap up in the air for half the fight. Gal, because he could do the rages and he had some really cool ones that you could do. I used to love using Tyrannosaur in the final fight because Meteor could hit everyone in the group if he actually used it. And then it was just kind of a mishmash. It was either Go-Go or Locke. Sometimes I would put Terra in there. That fourth character kind of rotated sometimes, but frankly, I didn't use a ton of magic when I would get to the end of the game because it was like, this is too overpowered. It's not fun. I want something a little more under my control, my choice, what I do to fight. And Ultimate just kind of ruins that balance. It just does. It's unfortunate because it's nitpicky, and I don't think necessarily you're ever required to use it. But once you have it, why wouldn't you use it? It's the best spell in the game. Anyway, let's go ahead and give the game a score. We do our score in Randars, 1 to 10. I know I had a long list of bads and uglies in this game, but I think it's a testament to the strengths of this game that it is still 10 Randars. 10 out of 10. There wasn't a single dungeon or story section of the base game, barring the Game Boy Advance content, that felt like it overstayed its welcome. The characters are fun, the abilities are unique and often fun to learn and implement, and the story is great while it's still actually progressing as a central plot, mainly in the first half. And making the story about an ensemble and not necessarily just one character was a Herculean task that they actually took on and ultimately succeeded in. There were very few characters that did not have a meaningful story beat, save for the optional characters like Go-Go and Umaro. This game was in many regards Squaresoft's magnum opus. While everyone has their favorites in this series, and I would just add that this game is not my favorite Final Fantasy. It would actually be 7. It's pretty much a consensus about among fans of the series, game journalists, just about everyone, that Final Fantasy VI is the best Final Fantasy game of all time. And an argument can still be made to this day that it is the greatest RPG of all time. It's just a fantastic game, and I'm glad we did a full playthrough of it, as long as it actually went. As long as this video in particular went. We're at 1 hour and 40 minutes. Obviously, I'm going to edit some stuff out, so it'll probably get closer to 1.5 hours, but yeah, this is a really, really good game. It's one of those games that if you've never played it before and you just wanted to watch a video, I would hope that this incredibly long series would encourage you to pick it up and try it for yourself. Maybe you'll find some of the things I liked and disliked about certain characters, like, say, Setzer and maybe Mog and Strago. You find that they are more fun and satisfying characters than I did, and you love using them, and you can find out for yourself whether or not they're actually worth the time and effort to play. But yeah, 10 Randars. This is about as close to a perfect RPG as I can think of, even with all the other stuff I was complaining about. It's still a fantastic game. That's going to do it. Oh, wait, I forgot. We're going to do one other thing. This is just exclusive to Nubs RPG Wednesday games that we're going to be looking at. Pretty easy. Is this game, because RPGs tend to be very long experiences, you're talking 25, 30, in this case 40 hours of gameplay, is it worth going back to and playing the full experience? Unequivocally, this would be a yes on this one. It is 100% a game that you could play today and still feel like it is a worthwhile experience. I don't know if I can say that about every game that we're going to look at on Nubs RPG Wednesday. And in many cases, we're going to be looking at games where I'll only put in maybe 2, 3, 4 episodes and say, we've seen everything that we need to see to pass judgment on it. Yes, it's worth going back to. No, it's not going back to, and so on. This one, easy answer. Yes, it's worth going back to. And if you've never played it before, what are you doing with yourself? go get a copy of this game and play it. It's fantastic. That's going to do it for this 42nd and final episode of my Final Fantasy VI Extended Look / Complete Playthrough. As always, I do appreciate each of you watching, and I will see you next time.